Pizza time.
Spider-Man tier list time, more like. Today we're going to be ranking every single Spider-Man movie out of all 7 movies. This is going to be pretty epic. I did a superhero tier list a few days ago, and that was pretty cool. But this one is specifically for Spider-Man movies, just because there's so many of them, and I thought they'd be good to compare them. So we've got a new set of rankings today. We've still got the CEO tier, obviously, the God tier. However, in the middle, I have now it, it means like alright. It's decent. Below that, we've got your trash Brock.
You're trash, Brock.
And then at the bottom, we still got meme tier. Now, going in chronological order, we'll start off with the very original Spider-Man by Sam Raimi, starring Tobey Maguire. And this movie was the first origin story for Spider-Man. It's so iconic to this day. So basically, sum it up: Green Goblin is the villain.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
We have Flash as the bully in school. Peter Parker gets bitten by a radioactive spider. He does a wrestling match. He does an upside down kiss.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Harry is his best friend.
Peter, it was amazing.
And Webb comes out his wrist naturally, which is kind of weird.
Nani?
And the biggest spoiler of them all is Uncle Ben dies. This one's going to hit hard. I'm sorry, guys. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole plot spoiled for. So, if someone's going to complain to me about spoilers, then you're about a decade late. Anyway, so yeah, this movie was actually really good. Not actually, it is really good. And the CGI does not hold up today. Let's just say that. It still has great moments and is probably the best origin story for Spider-Man so far. So, yeah, we've got to give it to Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi. Green Goblin was great villain as well.
Oh.
So I think it's only right to put the original Spider-Man in God tier. Now, next up, we have another meme-tastic, fantastic Spider-Man movie, and that is Spider-Man 2. And this is probably considered by many as the very best Spider-Man. And you might just be right. This movie includes the classic pizza time moment.
Pizza time.
We have an epic train fight scene. Dr. Octopus is the villain. We get some of the most epic Spider-Man music ever in cinematic history. Woohoo! I have to mute this because I'd get copyright claim. But search up the Spider-Man theme tune, it is epic. Harry also finds out who Spider-Man really is.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
And then there's just great moments like this. Other truly great moments include the pizza Peter Parker scene and the exaggerated zoom-ins. So yeah, this movie is absolutely legendary. It's got a perfect mix of memes and great storytelling and the Spider-Man action. So yeah, it's a certified CEO tier. Then next, we have possibly the most iconic Spider-Man movie out of them all. Not just because of how silly it is, but just because of how many memes I have on my phone which are Spider-Man 3 related. It is crazy. And yes, we are talking about Spider-Man 3. The movie with 3 villains, Venom, Sandman, and Green Goblin Jr. More than 3 relationships going on, with Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane in a love triangle, and more than 3 emo Parker dancing memes. We can thank Sony for that one.
You're trash, Brock.
If this isn't the most iconic Spider-Man movie, I don't know what is. The memes are elite. However, there are decent moments in the movie which are like just good Spider-Man moments. We had the black suit Spider-Man for the first time, which is super cool. I wish we got to see more of that. But something even better than Spider-Man 2 the fight scenes, the CGI, everything is slightly upgraded, and there's still very epic action moments. And once again, as I'm showing you this clip, I wish I could play the music because it is so good. So good, the music. But yeah, copyright. I mean, at this point, I've showed so much of every Spider-Man movie that I'm probably going to get claimed by all 7 Spider-Man movies, so it doesn't really matter, does it? But yeah, anyway. But I think Spider-Man 3 all around is a very legendary movie that brings many of us great joy with just the amount of memes that have come from it. However, it is quite tragic that this franchise was ended because of this movie altogether. But yeah, it's got to go in the meme tier. I'd love to put it in God tier, you know, CEO Beyond God tier. We'll add a tier for Spider-Man 3. However, it is a meme tier movie. And now we are on to the next Spider-Man franchise, The Amazing Spider-Man, Mark Webb's awful creation we can thank Sony for. This one stars Andrew Garfield this time, taking the mantle as Spider-Man. I have actually done a review of this movie titled The Not So Amazing Spider-Man. That should be in a movie review playlist. So yeah, if you want to see what I think about that, see more info in that video. But to summarize the plot and kind of what I said in that video, basically we've got Peter Parker is still not a kid in a high school, and all the actors are too old for the high school. He looks like he's constantly high, so he's been doing lots of drugs. Uncle Ben gets shot again, so we have to go through that whole grieving process.
When you're not really fine.
But I must say, one of the only things I did like about this movie was how tragic you could really feel Uncle Ben's death was and how it affected Peter at school, and it didn't just go away so quickly, so I'll give them respect for that. Gwen Stacy is being creeped on by Peter Parker. Flash the bully gets humiliated once again by Peter Parker, who turns into the bully, and he becomes a skateboard boy. Hope you guys like my Andrew Garfield fan edit right there. But yeah, other than that, Lizard is the villain, and for the most part, it's kind of a love story. Literally, it focuses very much on Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker's relationship, and yeah, it's okay, but altogether not a great movie. And yeah, as I said once again, check out the full review if you want to. But I'm going to give this movie an 8. You know, it's decent, but it's not great. Now, what have we got up next? We have got oh no. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. You know what, this movie is so bad that I'm just going to refuse to review it. I was like, I'm going to do a solo review on this, but no, I don't think we'll ever see that day. This movie was so bad, so disappointing. I'm so sorry, Andrew Garfield. I know you like Spider-Man, and you're a good Spider-Man, but Sony has effed you over so hard, and this movie was absolutely awful. It's in the meme tier, boys, that's it. So after The Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't do so amazing, we got a new franchise. And now we have Tom Holland's Spider-Man, who is the current Spider-Man, and probably the most successful of them all so far, because this franchise is still going, and that is something very hard for a Spider-Man movie. However, this time, Tom Holland is probably the right age to be in a high school, and the casting is much better. So yeah, it looks more legit that he's in a high school. We got Vulture as the villain now, Michael Keaton. Batman now is the villain of this Spider-Man movie. And yeah, we got the whole Peter Parker relationship thing going on with MJ and this other girl I forgot the name of. And then we got this, his best friend, who isn't Harry this time, it's this guy called Ned, who's this, you know, fat nerd. Now, I've got to say, this movie's pretty great. Definitely a lot better than, you know, The Amazing Spider-Man. But what isn't, in terms of, you know, plot and depth of characters and the villain and everything there is really good. Much more simplified, I think. However, the one thing that it's just not as good about is Flash, the bully. He's not as good in these movies. And that's because they turned him into some wimp who's, like, supposed to be a modern-day bully. But, you know, I much preferred the skinheads who bullied Peter Parker. They were very cool.
Whoa, what?
So yeah, this Spider-Man movie was a very good Spider-Man movie, I'll have to say. However, it is not the most memorable Spider-Man movie. I mean, Vulture was a very cool villain, there was very cool moments, but in terms of action, there isn't as much web swinging as you'd want, which is quite disappointing for a Spider-Man movie, and that's why, in many ways, people say The Amazing Spider-Man and the original Spider-Man has better web swinging scenes. So yeah, there's a lack of that, but there's a lot more plot and story talk about him as a teenager growing up with being a superhero, which is quite interesting. But I'm going to have to give it an 8 along next to The Amazing Spider-Man. It might be just better, obviously, but that's just my opinion. And last but not least, before my phone explodes, we have got Spider-Man Far From Home. So this is the most recent Spider-Man movie in the Tom Holland franchise, which stars Mysterio as the villain, and he wants the glasses so he can do a massive nuke on flipping London, lads. He's coming from my flipping hometown, so yeah, I'm glad London got a few nukes. Very cool, thank you so much. So, what do I like about this movie? Well, the special effects, for one thing, are quite glorious, and some of the moments where, you know, he's seeing things, Peter, because Mysterio's giving him these illusions which are so realistic that it's obviously very hard to tell if they're real or not. And then he gets hit by a train. So yeah, but at the end, with the final battle, that was very good stuff. So yeah, I've got to give it to them, the special effects team. They never get enough credit, so yeah. But altogether, this movie was quite solid. And for that, very short review, obviously, we have to give it a God tier.
I don't like sand.
So that is it, guys. The world's most scuffed Spider-Man movie tier list you've ever seen. Hope you enjoyed. This took a lot of time to edit, but it was a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Second time, and yeah, please do leave a like and subscribe. I don't usually say this, but I would really appreciate that. And tell me what you want to see me do next. But yeah, my phone will combust if if I edit this anymore, and I don't even know if this will download. But yeah, hopefully it does. And see you guys in the next video. Bye.
That's just the drugs. Don't they make you feel numb? You can't feel it all. Maybe if we loved ourselves, it wouldn't be so hard. Wouldn't be so hard to love each other. I don't think we're in love. That's just the drugs.